Welcome back for round 5. This time we have Recco Connor, who we saw earlier on stream with his Emboar deck at 4-0, versus Jacob Van Wagner, who's playing a spooky version of Virizion Genesect. Looks like Jacob's taking a mulligan. Normally I think Emboar is Virizion Genesect is a pretty good matchup for Emboar. I still think the matchup's decently good, but Jacob does have some interesting stuff, so we chose this match partially due to the fact that you get to see sort of an interesting deck, and partially due to the fact that some other players at the top tables are declining to be streamed. But both players are 4-0, and a win here, I believe, locks up top 8. We'll have to do some math after this round to figure that out, but it should be so. I'm always glad to have more Emboar action where I can get it. I think Jacob mulliganed again, unfortunately. But we'll...
Do you think Jacob stands a chance?
Yeah, I worked with him on this deck list along with Travis Nunlist and Clifton Go, and he is playing stuff other than just Virizion Genesect in it. He has a Ho-Oh in it. He has Terrakia, and I think he might not be playing Mewtwo. But yeah, I definitely think that he has answers to Recco's stuff, especially going first. He can definitely get there. I still think it's probably favorable for Recco just because there are a lot of grass Pokemon in Jacob's deck, and I think Recco's playing 2 Reshurams, or at least he was back in Cities.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the matchup is as bad as one would put it normally. So we have Jacob going and Ultra Balling to get a Bouffalon onto the bench, and then ending Recco down to 6 cards. Both players with the 6 cards. And I do think that whoever wins this round should be able to double draw in the top 8. Have to double check that after this round, but I think that's what's going to happen. And in other news, we have Tyler and Emboar at 2-0-2 got paired up versus a 3-1 Chad Bosque, so that has big implications for the rest of the tournament. And Jacob drops a Terrakion, drops a Genesect, and passes the turn. And an end from Recco. If Recco misses Tepig here, it could be big.
Yeah.
He has a lot of outs to a Tepig in a 6-card hand, but he doesn't miss it. He gets the beach, which is nice, but it really depends if he can keep these Tepigs alive or not.
He's actually going to need 2 because Jacob has easy access to Catcher.
Definitely.
And Genesect's ability.
And Jacob actually beat Jack Pitcher last round with the Jack Pitcher playing the Dragonite deck, so now he is 3-1. So you saw Jack on stream. Dragonite's still very live in the tournament. 2013 World Semifinalist James Good is 2-0-2, trying to claw his way back in. And it looks like Recco might have missed the Tepig. He's going to go ahead and beach. This is big for Jacob. If Jacob can capitalize, he can get way ahead here.
Yeah, that miss is really crucial. Gives Jacob the chance to just kind of pressure Recco out of the game, essentially.
Jacob's sister, Lindsay Van Wagner, in the chat, cheering him on. And there's 50 on the Rayquaza and 2 energy on the Genesect. We also know that Jacob has another Plasma. He has a Plasma in his hand, so he can go ahead and knock out any Tepigs that Recco plays. And I think even if Recco plays 2 Tepigs, I still think Jacob just has to try and combat them. Even if Recco does play 2 Tepigs and then gets the Emboar off of his last remaining Tepig, I still think that because you have the Virizion backup, it's still fine to do that probably. And Recco Juniper's away and a bunch of stuff, including an Emboar. Doesn't look like he has a Tepig still.
Yeah.
He might be slow rolling it. No, just beaching one more time. So with every turn that he doesn't get a Tepig, the lane Jacob just gets more and more advantaged. So go ahead and, no, considering attacking with that Tracheon, the Tracheon is the Tracheon does trade well with Reshiram. It doesn't get one hit by it, so it is one of the things where if he can strike first, he can try and get ahead that way. And Jacob's trying to go for the more conservative route, I'd say, and just Emerald Slashing again. Not sure how much I like that personally. I think he might, with the lead that he has, he might want to just try and take advantage and get any gain that he can get. But we do know that he has the Plasma Energy in his hand to knock out this Tepig, so maybe it's best to just try and set up everything else and just not care about the Tepig. And a Skyla gets an Ultra Ball, which I imagine is just searching out a Tepig, of course.
Yeah.
And discarding. Likely. Yeah, Jake. For those of you who haven't been joining us since the beginning, Jacob does play Ho-Oh, Ibuki Sect. You can see most of it here. Hopefully Jacob will make it to the top 8 and we'll get to feature him some more, but he discarded a Ho-Oh turn 1. And he plays Tracheon, as you can see, and Metal Energy, as you can see. So there are some opportunity, some different things there, which is why we're featuring the match in the first place. And do you think it's possible that Recco not drawing the Tepigs is because like multiple are prized?
It's a possibility, but you know, he could just not be drawing them. It's hard to tell.
Very true, very true. Gonna retreat into that shiny Rayquaza, drop the Tepig, and I imagine Beach. And Jacob draws. I thought Jacob had a Plasma Energy in his hand, which I would definitely like to see him catch up that Tepig. I can't really tell now. He might have gotten the end away. Can't quite remember when I saw it. Can't quite see if he goes and attaches to the Tracheon, plays another Virizion. Oh, nice. He has a Plasma Energy on the Genesect already. Apologies.
Does he?
Yeah, it's right there. It's kind of hard to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can see it now. Jacob going ahead, playing a switch to burn the, I imagine to get energy in the discard pile for Ho-Oh. I would have liked to see Jacob be a little bit more aggressive this game. I haven't played this deck too much. I help with the deck list a bunch. We've talked about it a lot, but I haven't actually gotten to hands-on test it too much because I was preparing for streaming. But I think he can afford to go a little bit more aggressive than he's being, especially as Recco doesn't have any Tepigs on board. I think Jacob probably could have exerted his force and taken a prize or two already, which I think he might just be kind of letting all that slip away. But Jacob certainly has more experience with the deck than I do. And it looks like Rico's preparing for a Superior.
I think he's got a Super Rod.
Oh, does he? Okay. For now, he's Ultra Balling, but I imagine that'll fetch an Emboar. And I think if it fetches an Emboar, I think he's just ahead here, or at least he's not behind, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of evens things out. And there is the Emboar. Rare candy, certainly imminent. And 2012 Senior World Champion Chase Maloney, 2-1-1, trying to stay alive in the tournament. Another thing to note is that with the small turnout, although there's only 7 rounds, the top 32 does get prizes. So even if you're 2-2 or 2-3, you can still claw your way back into the money, as they say. We see Superior from Recco getting rid of an escape rope and something else. Getting 4 fires. Gonna go ahead and Fandango those guys. No lightning yet, but he has a. I imagine that he will probably just dump all of them and then beach. Oh, he has a Juniper.
Oh,
nice. Well then.
I see the lightning is the top card.
It was top card, is your? Nice.
Well, the bottom technically, but like the top that he picked up.
Right. So that's going to be big here if he's able to go in with the Shred Rayquaza. I think that's probably. I think hitting for 90 with Shred Rayquaza is probably fine. I think that if he wanted to be aggressive, he could have tried to knock out with the Rayquaza EX. Although I guess the Shred Rayquaza does have 3 retreat, so I guess he couldn't afford to. But if he could, I think he could have just gone aggressive and knocked out with the Rayquaza EX. He would have to fear a G booster. But once you have the Emboar up, and like, I don't think Rico's dumped all that many resources. He has a lot of cards in his card pile, but I don't think he's gotten rid of many important ones, at least that I've seen. So he can definitely start streaming knockouts, but it's also exposing an EX when you're just trying to knock out a non-EX, which is one of the advantages of Terrakion, of course, so it's kind of hard to say. We're seeing an N, back to 6 cards for both players. And we're resolving the N. Raybor, you still on the Raybor train? Still want to see Raybor take down this tournament?
Yeah, but I have no bias in terms of this matchup.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I see our other Raybor player, Matt Oslakovic, looking like he's winning. I think Matt's kind of hard to read at 2-1-1, trying to stay alive for the top 8. Jacob's gonna go ahead and
retaliates.
Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and
land crush.
Land crush, yeah, for 90. There's a second lightning that he needs to attach to that Rayquaza EX, and a Colress for 8 is gonna be pretty big. And once again, twitch.tv/onthebubble. You can check that out. I think they're having a couple of audio difficulties at the venue right now, but the stream should still be up. If not, it's just on a break in between rounds. So that should be pretty good. They're streaming the Southern California regionals. There's a lot of good players down there. Not sure what the matchups have looked like, and not sure what the metagame has looked like quite yet, but it should be a good time. And we'll go checking his discard pile again.
I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. It's interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say when you have like a new deck versus a deck that's not played all that much. I think it's hard because I think Jacob should have just been much more aggressive in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of on the back foot now. Now that Recco has an Emboar and has the Rayquaza and doesn't even.
I'm gonna assume he's gonna go for either a Tepig or a Reshiram.
Yeah, if I were him, I'd probably go for the Tepig. I feel like you have enough for tech. No, sorry. I feel like if you have the Rayquaza already knocking out and taking prizes, I feel like you don't need much more attackers. But Reshiram is very good versus Virizion. Genesect and kind of shuts it down. I would just be afraid of a knockout on my Emboar at any time, which is possible with.
But he's got all the energy out. It doesn't really matter right now.
Yeah, it's not too relevant right now. And there's a catcher on that Emboar. And an N, so he's gonna take a G booster.
See, at this point, he gets rid of the Emboar, but that's fine. He's got all of his energy on the board.
Yeah, definitely.
I would have actually, I don't know. It's tough. Recco just has everything, and if he just plays that another Tepig, it's just like it gives him another chance to set up another Emboar. I don't know.
Going in for a rebirth, misses the rebirth flip. And Jacob does not have much.
Plus, he's not going to be able to knock it out, I guess.
I think Jacob needs to energy switch. I'm not sure why he didn't energy switch onto the Bouffalant.
I guess he's trying to stall him out with leaving the Emboar active and snipe the Rayquaza or something.
Oh, sorry. I thought he had multiple grass on. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was He definitely did not need to energy switch if he can't attack without it. All apologies. Yeah, I mean, I guess he can take two prizes by knocking out the baby Rayquaza and the Emboar if Recco doesn't have the escape rope. I do think Recco plays 3 escape rope or something like that.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't have it, I still think what you're saying is correct in that, you know, Recco just has all the energy on board. But I think that's definitely going to be solid for Jacob, especially if Recco's bench is full. He can't play Tepig till next turn, and if Jacob can find a way next turn to knock out that Rayquaza, like if he can move the energy, if he can move energy around and be able to knock out the Rayquaza, he'll definitely be pretty far ahead, but that's a little bit down the road, so we'll see. And there's an N, so 5 cards to find a switch effect. And he gets it. Looks like he's waiting for Jacob to figure out what he's going to do. And that's pretty unfortunate. I think that kind of invalidates Jacob's whole plan. But
yeah.
Especially as he's now able to just send up that Reshiram and knock out the Virizion. And even just putting more energy on the field, just dumping everything he has.
I would argue that if this deck sets up, no deck can beat it.
Oh
This is insane.
Essentially. I mean, it's just like the Blastoise deck, but Recco just plays more energy, you know?
This
So
is scarier than Blastoise.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, right now he's got the ability to knock out any EX. He has Reshiram up front that everything in Jacob's deck, everything that Jacob has in the field, basically, can be knocked out by. He has a Shred Rayquaza that only has a little bit of HP left, but can still get some work done. And
He does get the
a rebirth. There's a second Terrakion. An energy search coming through. Gonna find a water. And I don't know if Jacob can really get it done here because he can attach to the Ho-Oh and threaten a whole bunch of damage, but he's in response it'll just get knocked out by the Rayquaza.
Besides the Terrakion, does he run any other like off-color Pokemon that would warrant Ho-Oh?
No.
Okay.
Just the Terrakion and the Bouffalons, which Bouffalons don't attack with colored energy.
Yeah.
Gonna go for a Colress. Colress for 9 here. And we're gonna see what happens. I think Jacob's in a pretty bad spot. Recco Recco has an insane setup for any kind of game, but especially for a game where he didn't have a Tepig for the an Emboar for the first 4 turns or whatever. Recco's just gone crazy.
He's going for that again.
We have the Emboar active. And looks like there's some deliberation between the players. And Jacob just goes and passes. That's got to be rough. So the Emboar is active. I mean, Recco could just not have a way out of it. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, Jacob's gonna take if Jacob can attack with the Virizion or with the Genesect, he can take 2 prizes. And then that Genesect's going to be immediately knocked out, and Recco has a Tepig, not on the board, but waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
I think if the game plays out in such a way that Jacob knocks out the Emboar, Recco responds with the Rayquaza, and then Jacob can respond by knocking out the Tepig that Recco played, I think that Jacob is in a better position, but I still think that it's going to be pretty rough for him, especially because Recco has 2 Rayquaza EXs on board, and so he can even stall and just manually attach and feed Jacob non-EX Pokemon.
Yeah.
To get knocked out with.
I mean, he still has Reshiram, which destroy Genesect.
Definitely. And I think that's the tough part, is that if he doesn't attack, if he knocks out Reshiram, if he knocks out Emboar with a Genesect, he's not gonna. He'll take 2 prizes because you can hit the Rayquaza on the bench, but he's gonna get immediately return KO'd by that basic Reshiram.
Yeah.
And if he knocks it out without a Rayquaza or without a Genesect, it's fine because he knocked out the Emboar, but he's still like off prizes, still an odd number of prizes, which isn't where you want to be.
Would you have wasted the Superior there for the 2 energy, or would you have waited for him to knock out the little Rayquaza or something?
I think he wants to do that because if the Genesect knocks out the Emboar, he won't be able to attach it.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I think he just wants to load it up. Normally, I think he should conserve his resources, but right there, when he has all of this on the board,
yeah,
I think he's fine to do that. This game has taken quite a long time. And I mean, Recco's very close to winning, but we could see a 1-0 victory for Recco or a draw if Jacob's able to win a long game too, but
yeah,
we're a little bit away from that point right now.
We're at the halfway mark pretty much.
As a reminder, we have 7 rounds today, and we'll be back tomorrow with the top 8. Not sure what time we'll be back tomorrow. We'll try and get that info later. At the very least, I will post it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/OTBPokemon tonight after we leave the venue. But we'll be here for all those rounds. And Jacob attaches to the Terrakion and just has to pass the turns. Every turn he passes just gives Recco the more ability to set up, you know?
Yeah.
Even if he can't find an escape rope. And now they're just passing. Oh, is Jacob trying to deck Recco or something?
Yeah, he is.
I don't know. Recco must be all out of ends or something. Looks like Recco still has a fair amount of cards left in his deck, though.
He could...
Maybe 3 more?
I don't know.
Well, Jacob saw something we didn't. Looks like Recco has at least 3 more cards in his deck, so I mean, I don't think Jacob would go for this unless Recco didn't have any ends left. I don't think he's that crazy of a person, but could see it. He's laughing at. But players are pretty good friends. Most people in the community here in the Northwest are pretty friendly with one another. Yeah, I think Recco has 2 cards on his deck now, so. What a way to lose. Maybe he'll rip an N. It could be also, I mean, I can't imagine. Yep, well, if he passes here, it's over. Wow, what a crazy game. Wow.
Yeah.
Insane. Recco was so far ahead of everything on board and Jacob just decked him out. Crazy. Oh, he has the N. Okay, so
has the N.
I imagine that was at least his, this is probably his 4th N.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have the escape rope because he just drew his whole deck, Jacob could just do this again.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's got to be his 4th N because I feel like he would have played it sooner. But I think did you happen to see how many cards he had in his hand? It was quite a bit.
Jacob?
No, Recco. Like how many cards are left in his deck?
Idea.
Like it wasn't quite a bit, but it was 7 or 8, I think. Like it was, he still has a couple more turns. I imagine Jacob's just gonna ship the turn. Transfers in their back, unless Jacob has fewer.
That might be because he drew more cards off the end.
Yeah, that's true. They're playing the game again. I think this is the first. I think this is the first time I've ever seen a decking game played out on stream.
Yeah.
I've streamed a fair amount of events in my day. And yeah, not really much to say. Sorry for the lack of commentary. I'm just kind of amazed by this, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think Jacob would be on this plan unless Recco had fewer cards. I don't like Jacob getting rid of cards there, though.
Yeah,
I feel like if this is your plan, you just need to stick to it. Like if this is how you think you can win, you just need to stick to it and not do this. I also don't know if Jacob just did, like, it very well could be that Recco has another N and that Jacob just did this as his only way out. And nope. Wait, what? I don't understand. Oh, did Recco? Seems like a judge is being called. Did you see what happened?
I have no idea what you said.
I didn't really get that. I thought that he had passed to Jacob and Jacob had passed the turn back to Recco. Okay, so it seems like Jacob has won game 1. That's absurd. Wow.
I think Recco tried to play the N on the turn that he drew out of cards, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't know why he would do that.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened as well, but I'm not sure if he didn't. Maybe that's not how it worked. I'm not quite sure. But either way, we've got ourselves a game here. After Recco had a very slow start, didn't get a Tepig out for multiple turns, and then didn't get an Emboar for a while. Had multiple energy on the board, was just destroying Jacob, but Jacob knew better than we did, I guess, and used the red signal on Genosect to send up that Emboar. and deck Recco out. Recco even had an end both times. Recco played the end correctly once, and I guess just didn't understand how the rules worked the second time. But and we could easily see a 1-0 victory for Jacob here too.
Yeah.
Especially if these players take a while to shuffle. We still have 20 minutes left, but or we could see Recco win this game and then it be a draw. So. Players shuffling up. Looking around the room, I don't see many players that are done. Most players are still playing. A lot of big name players still live for the top 8. Hopefully after this round we'll be able to paint you a clear picture of who's still in and who's not. And let's see, so Recco's gonna go first. He opens a Tepig across from Jacob's Virizion. Gonna play an Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Tool Scrapper and a Fire Energy. And getting a Reshiram and Skylaying. He plays Skyla. Jacob just decked Recco out by hedgering up his Emboar for like 15 turns. And then Recco drew. Like, no cards in his deck. Jacob passes, Recco draws no cards and plays it. And they were like... Did you see what he got off the Skylar there?
I didn't.
Oh, at the beach, I guess?
Yeah,
sorry, I'll apologize.
Yeah.
I was distracted. Tio was talking to us real quick. And I imagine he's just gonna play an energy in beach. He might not even have an energy. He did get rid of one. Yeah, it looks like he's just going for the beach. An Ultra Ball from Jacob's side of the field. Getting a Ho-Oh. I imagine that's going to get Ultra Balled away or Junipered away as well. Did he play Juniper there?
Yeah.
Okay. And Buffalon on the bench. Virizion. I don't think I like playing that Virizion there. I don't think he can really afford it. He's gonna Ho-Oh Rebirth and then Energy Switch to get a turn 1. Oh, never mind. I thought he was gonna do that, but I guess he's just trying to make it so that he can Ho-Oh knock out the Tepig next turn if Recco doesn't get another. If Recco can't get the Rare Candy this turn. Probably not what I would have done. I thought he had an Energy Switch in his hand to be able to Emerald Slash. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Emerald Slash on turn 1, but I guess Jacob had a different plan. And Recco looking through his hand. What do you think of those Play Pokemon sleeves, Isaiah?
I'm not a fan of any of the sleeves that they've come out with.
Yeah, I agree. There's the Emboar. What if the Emboar just gets stuck active from now on? Uh-oh. This Emboar is threatening to knock out this Virizion. I think he needs 4 energy on it.
Yeah.
The attack.
Still puts him 10 short of a knockout.
Oh, it does 80?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was under the impression that it was like the Blastoise attack and scaled.
No.
2013 World Semifinalist in Senior Division, Ian Whiten is now 4-1. I think he's safe to draw into the top 8. I think they only have 6 rounds in Seniors.
Yeah.
No, not many Masters done yet, surprisingly. Only 15 minutes left in the match. And I'm looking at a field of 125 Masters still playing Pokemon, so I'm not sure what to say about that. Recco with a pretty good start here. Gonna go ahead and beach up to 7. Jacob playing the Genesect down. Skyla. I don't know what he's going for here. I imagine he's going to try and find some way to Emerald Slash, whether that's through an Energy Surge, getting a Grass, or an Energy Switch, or I think that's an N he took?
Yeah, I think he took an N.
He might just have the energy in his hand naturally and have no way to attack otherwise. I'm going to go ahead and Emerald Slash, and chances are this Virizion getting knocked out by Reshiram this turn.
Yeah.
Jacob loading up that Genesect. And I mean, we still have a fair amount of time left in this round, but both players are off to pretty slow starts, so this is gonna be a hard one. I'm not sure. Jacob is up 1 game.
Yeah.
Just for everyone in the chat asking. I could very well see Recco winning this game and then not being able to complete the 3rd game, though. I think that's the bigger fear rather than a draw.
Alright.
But as it stands now, Recco's getting the superior with the Skyla. I don't know if I believe he has 2 fire in the discard pile. I don't know if he's just gonna superior for the 2 and attach them, or if he's going to attach them to something that he already has in his hand to the Emboar and then retreat in superior for them.
I think he's gonna do that.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing the latter play, which is definitely the way to go. That's gonna allow him to get a knockout on this Virizion, take 2 prizes, and then set Jacob behind a fair amount. Jacob can't really afford to attack into the Reshiram with a Genesect. Even if you were to G-booster up and knock it out, that's only 1 prize for a whole lot of resources, the biggest resource of which is his own Genesect being knocked out by a Rayquaza EX.
Yeah.
He can attack with the Ho-Oh, which will be fine. It will not get him a 1-hit KO, but the problem with that is that if Recco can retreat the Reshiram into the Rayquaza, it's going to be spell trouble for Jacob either way. So there goes that blue flare for 2 prizes. And Jacob going for the energy search here. Failing to find entirely and playing it in.
What could Jacob get here that would help him out?
I mean, I think more than what Jacob can get, I think it's just he needs this N. He needs Recco's N to 4 to be bad. Like,
yeah.
if Recco just doesn't hit a bunch of energy, like if he doesn't hit lightning especially, it'll be good for Jacob. Jacob, I think, is going to want to... It's so hard because, as happened last game, everything that Jacob does, Recco just has something waiting for him. Knocking out the Emboar is big here.
Yeah.
If knocking out the Emboar is big here if he doesn't get the other Emboar off the Tepig, which isn't something like he has, or else I think he would have just pushed a Pokemon up immediately. So this could help Jacob get back, especially if he has another Plasma to knock out the other Emboar. But the problem is that Jacob still needs to find a way to really pull ahead, and as long as Recco can just manually attach, if he attaches the Lightning this turn and a Fire next turn onto the Rayquaza, he can knock out whatever he wants to. So it's still going to be pretty difficult for him. But Recco doesn't have anything. He's just going to Outrage for 40. If it's possible that...
Would you have done that, or would you have beached?
If I were Recco, I definitely would have beached. Sorry, I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, I don't... Putting 40 damage on the board is not good enough. But What I was going to say here is if there is a way that he could orchestrate, I don't think there was. If there was a way that he could orchestrate a way to catcher up the Tepig with the red signal and then knock it out with the Ho-Oh somehow, that would be big. And for right now, attacking with the Ho-Oh I think is probably correct on Jacob's part. It's gonna take a prize, even up the prizes. And Ho-Oh, while it's an EX and while it's a cool, it's a good Pokemon to have, if he loses it, it's not as important as losing a Genesect.
Yeah.
What could happen here is if Jacob can, assuming that Recco can't get anything, okay, so he has the max potion, just gonna buy him another turn. I assume he'll beach here. Yeah, okay, so he's beaching. But what could have happened there is Jacob knocks out the Reshiram, and then Rico's forced on the Rayquaza, which then gets G-boosted. And that really probably puts the game in Jacob's hands.
Yeah.
And I think if you're Jacob here, if you have an N, I think you just immediately slam it. And if not, I think you try and power up a Bouffalant for the impending Rayquaza Apocalypse. And he instead chooses to beach, it looks like, after attaching. I don't think I would have attached if I just planned to beach there. There's a chance the Ho doesn't get knocked out this turn, I suppose, but with Recco with 7 cards in hand, I think you gotta play a little bit safer than that. Recco considering playing an escape rope. I think Jacob correctly sends up the Terrakion. Yeah. It looks like Recco will have the Emboar this turn. Oh, he might not. He could just... No, I think he definitely is going to at least have an attempt to get the Emboar if he can the Reshiram, or the Rayquaza. I actually don't really like sending up the Rayquaza there without having the Emboar, because now if Recco misses and can't do anything, Jacob can G-booster the Rayquaza. Jacob's going to 5 cards, which is a decent amount, and really put Recco on the back foot. It looks like Recco... I think I saw a gold card in his hand, maybe one of the Reshirams. Couldn't quite tell. Attaching a Fire Energy. Retreating. And then just beaching. Hopefully Jacob didn't lock the track in place. Hopefully he has a way. I guess he couldn't have known because he has a fresh hand off the end, but hopefully he can retreat this turn. I don't like playing the second Virizion there. Yeah. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because he has enough targets for knockouts, but I like getting that Bouffalant set up. It's definitely where you want to be, and beach. And Recco still, I think he only has 4 cards in hand, 5 cards in hand now. So he could very well not have an Emboar for the rest of the game, and he doesn't. That's an N. And Recco's getting dangerously close to the time where Jacob could win on time. Yeah. It's a 1-0 victory. And I mean, Jacob's an honorable player. No, I thought they were calling time. Yeah. Sorry, we're gonna stop talking while these announcements are happening.
We have Pokemon TCPI
Recco beaches.
Nugget Bridge stream live on our screen back there. If you would like to watch an awesome video game battle, head to the back corner, catch a seat, see all the action. It's going to be a great game. Also, if you are a junior or senior that played in the video game side event, please report back there for prizing.
I don't know what's in Jacob's hand, but I don't like attaching the G-booster in the dark there, especially if you're going to follow that up with getting rid of a Shadow Triad. Yeah. It could just be that he has a Virizion, or he has a Juniper or something, but I don't think so, and I don't really like that. And there's the fighting on the Terrakion, and there's a Juniper. I don't know Jacob's end count, but he also has to be careful that he's not going to deck himself. like we saw last game. Only a few more minutes left in this game. Of course, if you don't follow Pokemon closely, there is a +3 rounds after, or +3 turns after time is called, so we do have a little bit extra time here, but Jacob will beach. Looks like Recco has the Emboar. Usually when a player draws and you see him shuffling through his hand, it's to arrange a rare candy play. And looks like Recco also has a superior. Looks like he's lining up for that.
But what does he use to knock out the Terrakion?
The only thing he can use is the Rayquaza EX, which is going to get immediately retaliated.
Yeah.
But Jacob's still on an odd prize exchange too, so even if he uses the Rayquaza, knocks out the Terrakion, goes to 3 prizes, Jacob is also going to go to 3 prizes by knocking out the Genesect, and you know what I mean. So
yeah,
it's not the worst position to be in. Recco also it looks like he's just choosing to 120 the Terrakion here. Honestly, at this point, I don't know. I don't want to overstate the time, but Recco, I think, might honestly need to just not be doing all these shuffle effects. You know what I mean? Obviously, Colress is a very good card, and Drawing 8 is important, but he just honestly might need to just play more quickly and try and take control of the game, because he's taking 1 prize here if he gets the knockout, and if not, it's just more time that is being taken up. And we go Fandangoing a bit. Checking his discard pile, I assume for the egg, maybe for some energy he missed. One thing that really helps streaming is when Recco puts his energy away in a separate discard pile like he's doing. It really helps us streaming to be able to see. Ideally, we'd know players' deck lists and we'd have cameras on their hands and stuff, but that's not quite going to happen yet. And there's the escape rope. It's going to take a G booster. Knockout. Oh, he's not going to take a G booster knockout. So Jacob keeps crawling back into this game. Or sorry, he's going to do a G booster knockout, but it's not going to knock out an EX. He's in a tricky spot though, because all that Recco needs is 1 energy of he needs 1 fire energy to respawn, knock out this Genesect. So you know, you can attach energy 1 per turn as part of the rules of the game, not just with Fandango. So could be rough for Jacob, but also maybe it's what he needs to do. You know, I'm honestly not quite sure. It's been a really intriguing game though. It's been, I mean, even though last game ended and the last 5 minutes were just stalling, it's been quite interesting. What?
We go dominating.
And maybe Jacob's trying for the same thing, stall tactics.
Yeah.
If you didn't see game 1, Jacob decked Recco out by stalling with a Tepig up front, so, or sorry, with an Emboar up front. Maybe he's going for the same thing again. I don't know how many energy or escape ropes Recco has left in play or in the discard pile, but Jacob is certainly keeping track of that. But we're under a minute left in the round, so it looks like Jacob could escape with a 1-0 victory. Things look pretty tense at that table. I think both players understand that time is of the essence, especially in such a situation. And
www.twitch.tv/OTBWest.
And
Pokemon players, that's time.
I don't know what's that's a timer, and that's time. You can, yeah. Sorry about that noise. That was our timer going off. So Jacob is turn 0, and I don't think Recco can win now.
Yeah,
because Recco, it's his turn 1, and he has to take 2 prizes over his next 2 turns. And even if he has an escape rope, Jacob can just send up the Boufflant. So it looks like Jacob will win the match. Is there anything that changes that?
Nothing. Unless he runs catcher.
Yeah, we haven't seen catcher. So I can't, unless Jacob makes a mistake, but I can't imagine that he will. Jacob's been playing the technical portion of this game pretty tightly, so I don't think he would do that. And looks like Recco dowsing, machining. I think at here you should just take the escape rope and hope Jacob messes up.
Yeah.
Right? And he does not. So yeah, as far as we're concerned, that should be the game. I guess, actually, no, yeah, he just take 2. Yeah, I think that's going to be the game. I don't think that Recco has a way out. And Skyla, it's gonna fetch something, but yeah, I think that's game. Don't mess up, Jacob. Playing another. He's gonna play it, try and mind trick him, try and next level Jacob Van Wagner. Nope. Alright. Jacob's turn 2. Jacob needs to. I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because he needs to take 3 prizes.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead. And Recco's gonna have to ship the turn, and Jacob Van Wagner wins 1-0 over Recco Connor. We're gonna take a short break, and we'll be back for round 6.